All right, I want to take a moment to dispel a notion, if you will, that I often hear that is just plain wrong. And what it is, people see me, lifting something heavy and say, "Oh my God, I feel bad for your back, or your knees are going to wear out, and wait till you get to be, whatever." I've been hearing this since I've been 20. Wait till you're 30. Wait till you're 40. Wait till you're 50. Now I'm soon to turn 56, and I've not had this sort of, "Oh my God, your joints are going to fall apart" thing. And the reality is, as an orthopedic surgeon, I replaced a hell of a lot of joints, a lot of knee joints, hip joints, shoulder joints, and I'll speak to, what I saw and what the literature seems to support. And I will tell you, the short answer is lifting heavy weights does not destroy your joints, okay? Now, could you injure yourself lifting a heavy weight? Sure, but the act of actually lifting heavy weights does not do that. In fact, the majority of the people I see, and in fact, the majority of the people that say, look at knee replacements, the majority of people that consumed knee replacements are obese females. I mean, that's just what the demographics support. And why is that? It's because we know that metabolic disease is driving arthritis to a large part. The thought was it's all mechanics, but really that's not the truth. The truth is it's mostly biology. Now, mechanics can exacerbate bad biology. And so, yes, if you're overweight, and you have weak joints, particularly weak joints. Remember, what stabilizes our joints? When we have an unstable joint, the joint is more likely to wear out. So what provides stability? Well, number one is the shape of the joint. Some joints, our shoulder joints, provide for incredible motion, but the trade-off is instability. So shape of the joint is one thing. The other thing are the structures around it. So the ligaments hold bones together and therefore provide joint stability. Sometimes the capsule. Some joints have specific features like the meniscus in the knee or the labrum in the hip and the shoulder, provide additional stability. But what also provides stability are the muscles that cross the joint. So the muscles have a really important role, particularly in dynamic stability, in stabilizing the joint. So guess what happens when your muscles are weak? The joint is a little bit less stable, and you can lead to more wearing out. So developing stronger muscles not only helps you metabolically to prevent some of the metabolic damage that you might incur from otherwise having, excess body fat and not enough muscle to dispose of things like glucose and things like that, but it also provides mechanical stability. So lifting weights, getting stronger, strengthening the joints is actually protective of the joints. Now, certainly, like I said, you could have an accident, you could twist funny or something like that, and that could happen, but it's very rare. In fact, if we look at all the activities that humans engage in, particularly sports, weightlifting is very low in its level of risk. And so, and again, what's heavy for one person, for me, like for instance, when I was 26, I deadlifted 700 pounds for the first time. I did that consistently until I was about 44 was the last time I deadlifted that heavy. And I still train fairly heavy, but what's heavy for me, may not be heavy for somebody else, or what's light for me may be heavy for someone else. And so I'm used to training that way. And so for me, deadlifting 500 pounds like I did a couple days ago for, 13 reps was, not that heavy. I mean, if I can do it 13 times, then obviously it's not that heavy, right? So that just makes sense. So don't fear getting stronger. Don't fear putting more weight on the bar, provided, you've done it and you've built up the capacity to do so. That's going to protect your joints in the long run. It doesn't damage them. Now we talk about, I know this guy lifted weights and his shoulders are shot or his knees are shot. Well, guess what? I can point to, for every one of those guys, I can point to 10 people that sit on their ass and sit on the couch and got fat and their knees wore out. It's not that weightlifting per se causes damage. It's a lot of times just being in this metabolic environment. And most of those people you can talk to, they may have eaten a bunch of garbage, or they ate maybe a super high carb diet, or we look at some of these bodybuilders who are taking an enormous amount of drugs, and now we're in a different situation where we're handling loads on our muscles far more than what our joint is able to withstand. Maybe the ligaments haven't caught up yet, or something along those lines. So I think the drug equation is a different answer, but I'm talking about athletes not taking drugs, which I don't think people should do, quite honestly. As you guys may or may not know, I'm not a fan of taking steroids. I'm not a fan of people that utilize that. I think it's ultimately, while certainly you can get stronger and bigger, it's ultimately a negative in my view. Some people clearly will disagree with that. And I'm happy to say that, like I said, I've been, not taking steroids or taking TRT or any of that stuff my whole life, and I'm proud of that fact. Now, some people think that's stupid, whatever, I don't care. That's just who I am. All right, guys, so don't fear getting stronger. Don't fear lifting heavy weights. Train to be able to do so. And then what you do is, by being able to do those things, you do this hard work, but guess what? Life just got easier for you, right? You go through a really hard grueling workout. I was training with steak and butter gal's boyfriend, steak and butter guy, I guess, Max. And we put him through a pretty hard workout. I said, Max, guess what? This really, really sucks. It's hard. But guess what? You just made your life easier, right? You made every other aspect of your life easier by doing that. So embrace the challenging things, enjoy, rejoice in the challenging things, because when you get through that, the rest of your life has now just gotten easier. All right, guys, great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.